The hotel and motel business. I've talked quite a bit about that in other videos, but what I haven't really gone into depth is how to create the need for a hotel and motel business. Because every business, the greatest asset of any business is clients. And how do you create the need for a client to come to your business? Whatever business that is, you have to create the need. And it's not just about opening a business and expect, build it and it will come mentality. That doesn't work. And we all seem to think, okay, I'll just start a business. I'll just register a business and what? They're going to flood your front door. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. And I think that's one of the main reasons 96% of companies fail. Let's go back to hotel motels. Hotel motels are generally considered, a real estate venture. It's not really a business. So let's get that straight. And here's a case study of what I'm talking about. Most hotels, unless they're a chain, and the Hilton brand and all the other brands are gobbling up small hotels because the small hotels don't know how to market themselves. They don't know how to create the need. They don't know how to create value for the average business traveler or the special events travel industry. And I'll give you a quick example. When I was averaging 5 flights a week, analyzing businesses all over North America, I came across a motel and I was tired. I was doing one of these and I came across a motel and I said, even though I paid for the hotel that I'm going to stay at, if I kill myself before I get there, then, nobody benefits. So I saw a motel. I pulled a UE, saw a motel that looked like a motel, but there was no cars. But I drove by the front door and it says, if you need a room, call this number. So I needed a room. So I called the number. And afterwards, I was the only car in the parking lot and it was kind of eerie. But I was tired. So after, going back after my project was done, seeing the hotel or motel again, I decided to call him again. I said, how come I was the only car in your motel? And he says, well, Leo, you got to understand, I inherited this motel and, it's in the middle of nowhere and there's really no need for it. And I'm thinking, why was it built, right? But then we started talking about creating the need. And I said, well, have you thought about, creating events to bring people to your area? And after, a few days of brainstorming, we came up with, pond hockey tournaments. And we created pond hockey tournaments and people flew in from all over the place to join these pond hockey tournaments. And that was very successful. And I believe they still run the world's largest pond hockey tournaments. And not only did they fill up his hotel, they filled up every neighboring hotel. And of course, he got a commission for filling up neighboring hotels. And he put on these pond hockey tournaments. So that was very successful. Then we came up with scrapbooking, artist retreats, and a number of other retreats for people to congregate because people like to be with like-minded people. But to update that that case study today, instead of pond hockey, I would have done pickleball tournaments because pickleball is the largest sport or the fastest growing sport in the world. So no matter where you go, anywhere in the world, chances are there are pickleball clubs, but they're very, very micro niche. They don't have an organized tournament events. I mean, there are major tournaments, but not enough that are targeting the corporate clientele for team building exercises, right? Because team building, you used to do zip lining, paintball, and baseball and stuff like that. But not everybody is comfortable doing that. But what people are comfortable doing is playing pickleball. A 5-year-old can play, an 80-year-old can play. Even though you've never held a tennis racket or a pickleball racket, you can still play. With a 10-minute instruction session, anyone can play. From the janitor all the way up to the CEO, anyone can play. And it would be great to play against your manager or your CEO or people. And it's a great team building exercise. So in other words, if you're looking to start a motel, you better have special events. You better attract the RV crowd. You better attract, the team building audience. You better attract, because motels are generally busy on the weekends. Unless you're part, close to a business district, you're going to struggle to fill up your hotels. And even motels consider themselves very successful if they reach the 80% occupancy. And I think that's pretty shitty. Right? Why not create events where you're always, or most of the time, you're 100% occupied, right? Otherwise, you can never get that time back, right? So I hope I answered your question. And if you're going to go into the hotel motel industry, you better have 1 million followers. You better have the right type of audience who can fill your hotels. And if you don't have those special events, whether it's artist retreats, pickleball, scrapbooking, knitting, I don't care what it is. And if you have the reach and the following, and for example, my videos on TikTok get me in front of 20 million future potential clients every 10 to 14 days. So we can teach you to do the same. So if you don't have that type of reach to fill up your hotels, do not go into the hotel industry. Again, it's not a business. It's a real estate venture. It requires a huge amount of capital. The return on capital investment is not good. But one of the first things we do in the group mentoring events is skills and asset inventory spreadsheet. Second one is comparing 10 different businesses or 12 different businesses. Compare the hotel motel business with 10 other profitable businesses. Measure that in 20 different ways: quality of life, income, and so on, creating generational wealth, and 20 other ways. When you start comparing these businesses, then a clear winner will come out. The problem is most people compare a business in a vacuum. They only look at one business in a vacuum. And I think that's very dangerous because you don't see the flaws. When you start comparing it with 12 other businesses, now you're seeing advantages, disadvantages for each. Every business has advantages, disadvantages. So please, before you start any business, look at advantages, disadvantages on a spreadsheet and compare it with at least 10 different businesses. What I find that most people, decide to start a business and they want to start it now. That's a mistake. We've been designing and building a business blueprint for 12 years now, and we don't launch that business until March of 2027. So if you're thinking of starting a business within the next 5, 10, 20 years from now, you better start building a following. Influence is the new currency. Influence is the new currency. If you don't understand that, you will design or you will build a bankrupt business before you start. We already know what makes a business very successful or what sends it to bankruptcy very fast. We already know that. We've known that for 40 years. But yet people still go blindly into a business without understanding the fundamentals of business. Please post your questions, comments below. If you're serious about starting a business, post a comment below. Join our group mentoring events. All the links are on my TikTok profile. We'll talk again soon. Take care.